I'm Jim Luke, also known as Econproph on Twitter and elsewhere on the web. And I'm putting together a quick video in response to Alan Levine's request for us to send a video with some comments about the possibility of Creative Commons certification. When you're about to download and take some work from his that's open licensed in the DS-106 bank, I think it's worthy to return the favor when he asks. So first off, who am I? As I said, I'm Jim Luke. I'm Econproph. The primary day job for about 15, 16 years has been teaching economics at a community college, Lansing Community College in particular. I'm full-time there. However, in the last year or so, I've taken on a new additional duties, which are taking up about half of my time, actually in real life more. And I am we don't really have a title for it, so I guess I will call myself the chief instigator of the Open Learning Lab project of the Lansing Community College. And what we're trying to do is promote open ed pedagogy as well as open ed resources and open learning with it throughout the college. So my role is that I use Creative Commons myself in the materials I create. It's important to me to be able to find material I can reuse. And now I've got the role of trying to help other faculty learn the same thing and eventually get that message across to more students. So that's kind of the role it plays. The question, what would it mean to me to have a Creative Commons certification? Well, I'm going to look at this. The name is Econproph, so I'm going to put on my economist hat first and say, really not much. This idea of a Creative Commons certification, frankly, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And I'd say that for three reasons. First off, a certification, there's a little bit of imbalance here between the whole concept of Creative Commons. We're trying to promote openness, and yet, basically, as an economist, I'll tell you, when I see certification or when I see license or anything like that, those are things that restrict. And so why are we trying to add another layer of some sort of certification? And I mean, what would be the possible implication? What, you can't use a Creative Commons license? You're not a certified Creative Commons license user? It doesn't make any sense to me. In more specifics, normally a certification is something that you've got three parties involved. You have the person being certified, you have the certifier, and the certifier is certifying the person being certified for the benefit or information of a third party. And it's usually about something that the third party can't easily validate or verify themselves. And so for me, a Creative Commons certification seems kind of pointless because the best evidence to provide that I know how to use a Creative Commons license is whatever materials I'm using. Am I giving the right attribution? Am I putting the license on my own materials? So I really don't get why we would need a certification. Now, having said that, and realizing that people may go ahead on the quest anyway of developing some sort of course and learning materials for it, let me add two additional thoughts. One is, what we need help on the most is the mechanics of attribution. To be honest with you, getting across what are the different licenses and the idea that Creative Commons is, allows for reuse under certain conditions, etc., isn't that hard, and people pick up on that pretty fast. I think a lot of folks don't use it because it's bloody hard. Alan already talked about in his own blog post the difficulties of finding stuff and making sure that you've got a usable license when you're searching, say, to find images on Google. But it gets even harder when you want to, say, stick those images into a PowerPoint. And, how do you do the attribution? It takes extra time. You're thinking of it. Frankly, I think the Creative Commons Foundation would be much better off spending time and effort and money coming up with better tools to make it easier. Things like right-click when I'm in the browser, and boom, it can help me quickly, easily build an attribution that I can just stick into something. The second thing that I do think is needed, most materials that talk about training or education on Creative Commons focus on what the licenses are and what you can, what they allow, what they don't allow. What they don't do is they don't help people think through what license to use under what circumstances, because there oftentimes are contextual differences. Let me give you an example. Too often it all comes down to as, oh, well, CC BY, share alike, no derivatives, that's way too restrictive, and it's almost kind of like, you're not really being open if you do that. When in fact, there may be circumstances where that might actually be an intelligent choice. For example, if you're writing something highly sensitive political commentary and you want to make sure that somebody doesn't copy it, put your attribution on it, and then simply reuse it by sticking one or two words in there and then thereby making it sound like, yes, you thoroughly endorse the practice of eating live children, yeah, there might be a time you want no derivatives. Likewise, there may be legitimate times where it makes sense for non-commercial versus under different contexts. And I think people need to better understand what are the broad ranges and implications, when it's desirable, when it's not, for each of the licenses. So there you go, Alan. I hope it helps. Hope to see you sometime Open Ed or sometime sooner. Bye.